Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here. Today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the FARA and Amax. And I wanted to make this video because with the recent changes to Warzone and, certain weapons receiving buffs and nerfs, many people have started to make the statement that the FARA is now one of the best ARs in the game. And I'm not talking as a secondary. I'm actually talking about as a primary and a weapon that will compete with the Amax, which is, very interesting when you start saying things like that. And I've used the weapon, I've seen the weapon in action, and I got my own personal thoughts on it, and we're gonna get into that shortly. But before we do, I want to say, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2K. We just hit 1.7K, so we're about 300, less than 300 away from 2,000. I would be very, very thankful if we can hit that. So please, man, hit that subscribe button, help a brother out. And yeah, if you find this video informative or useful, make sure to hit that like button. I guess let's go for 15 likes. I know you guys got me with that. So yeah, man, with that being said, let's get into the comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the FARA, and actually this was one of the things that was changed with this new update. The recoil pattern was adjusted, and I gotta be honest, I may have footage of the recoil pattern for the FARA prior to this update, but in all the clips that I have on my console, I can't be bothered to go look for it. And you probably already seen the change if you're watching this video, and if not, I apologize, but just know the recoil pattern was adjusted for the better to make this gun a lot more, I guess, controllable and usable. But with that being said, although the recoil pattern was adjusted, the other change that it had was the hip spread increased, and that I'm pretty sure was just to combat the usage of the FARA as a secondary. As you guys know, the FARA was getting a lot of attention, I believe, when the Season 3 just began. It was being recognized as one of the best guns in the game as a secondary, and it even received a nerf a while back, if you guys are familiar with that nerf. And here we are. But I think now with what they did, they made an attempt to make this weapon a better alternative or option as a primary, and making it so it could potentially compete with those top tier ARs that are running the game, such as the Craig or Amax. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the most interesting weapons that I have used in the course of Warzone because of the confliction that I have with it. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this gun is the best AR currently and it's better than the Amax or Craig, but I could see why people make that claim or people feel that way. This weapon, when I was using it, it felt like it had those flashes of it being really good, but then I've also had problems with it where I'm like, man, I can't see myself using this gun over an Amax or Craig because of this certain thing. So for one, I want to start off with the recoil. The recoil at long ranges is just unbearable for me, and I've heard people say that this gun has no recoil, it's very easy to control, or that it's just a beamer. Initially, I remember seeing when the update first came out, Tfue, in the first game that he got on the new update, he used the FARA and he dropped a 30 and he was going crazy. And I was like, damn, this gun looks amazing. But then, I started using it and I'm like, bro, this is very hard to use at long range. I wouldn't prefer this over a Amax. But I also feel like if you have the correct recoil control for this weapon, if you have that god tier recoil control, this weapon is dangerous because the damage is amazing, the fire rate is solid, and if you really can control this recoil, man, whew, this gun, it becomes a problem. But to be honest, the recoil itself isn't exactly the easiest to control, and I really feel like not that many players are going to be able to control the recoil at range. Take this clip for example. Look. So at range, it doesn't move, but it's just hard to control. It feels like it's really hard to control. I can't keep it 100% steady, but you can see that it's doing damage. It is, very, very efficient at putting in damage. However, when the users can't control it 100%, it's going to feel like it's lackluster. And see, with the Amax, it's kind of the similar situation where some people can't control the recoil, but the damage itself kind of bells out the lack of recoil control. That's why I like the Amax a lot. But with the FARA, it's the damage is good, but it's not Amax good. So, that recoil, the damage can't bail it out. You have to actually be pretty precise in how you're shooting it. And I don't really think that many people will be able to control it. And it might make people lean away from it. But if you are able to control it and you are able to master it, this is a gun to pay attention to. I could definitely see seeing it become a top 3 weapon in the game, because I think at close and medium range, it beats the Amax. But at long range, hold on, let me retract that statement. At close range, I think it definitely beats the Amax. And medium range is kind of like a toss-up. It really just kind of depends on the situation. But at long range, I believe under normal circumstances, under general circumstances, the Amax is a lot better at range. But I don't know, man. That's honestly, I think at that point it comes to personal just preference and how you're able to use a gun such as the FARA. But yeah, with that being said, man, let's get into the Amax. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Amax, which is nothing crazy. We already know. You guys are probably very familiar with this. And we already know like the situation with the Amax recoil. But I will say that both the FARA and Amax have the same recoil situation, whereas like at medium range they're both very nothing too crazy. Like if you feel the Amax recoil at medium range, then you actually have no thumbs. Like this gun shouldn't be causing you problems at close to medium range. Like if far range is understandable because that's where the recoil starts getting pretty intense. Same goes with the FARA. The FARA is a pretty low recoil weapon, but then you start getting to those extreme ranges and it starts getting a little weird. But I feel like it's a little bit that's incorrect. I ain't gonna say. I think the Amax is a lot more suitable for long ranges, especially with its damage and especially with its like just control. Like I think the control on Amax requires skill, but I think the FARA requires more skill. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually open to using the FARA a lot more because again, I see the potential. I see the #1 potential of that gun. However, like I need to, put in more reps with it so I could get the full control with that weapon. Because I really want to master that weapon because I feel like that weapon could be next up, especially if the Amax in the next season receives another nerf, which again sounds crazy, but at this point I wouldn't put it past Raven to nerf the Amax once more because I feel like this gun is still the primary weapon, the one that everyone's going to still. I will admit that there's probably more variety now, like the Craig, the FARA. I even heard people say the Ram or even the AK-47 now. But I still think the Amax is the go-to AR for many people, just with a little bit more variety now. But I think if they were to nerf it again and maybe they increase recoil a little bit more, or maybe they make the fire rate a little bit slower, or maybe again another damage nerf, maybe then we'll actually see the actual shift in meta. But right now, I consider like the Amax to be the #1 AR in terms of usage. I will, personal opinions and whatnot. Some people will put like a gun such as the Amax as like #2 or #3. Maybe they have their own specific AR that they consider to be the best. So for me, I think the Amax is 1 or 2. Really depends on the day I'm feeling. Like it could be Craig or Amax, interchangeable between 1 and 2. Honestly, I can't necessarily put the FARA at #3 quite yet because I still have a lot more ARs to try out. And when I do, I think I'll be able to formulate a actual good top 3. But I think for the safe bets, just like Amax and Craig, easily top 3. And the FARA, could be #1, but I still need a lot more reps with it, and I need to experience other weapons for me to fully put that confident top 3 FARA. But for some of you guys, the FARA might already be #1. That might be your main AR, and nothing bad about that. Nothing bad about that. That gun is very powerful, has a lot of potential. But right now, I think like I don't know, how do I put this? Like the pedestal between the FARA and Amax might be a little too high right now. And if the FARA maybe receives a little bit like another buff, or the Amax receives another nerf, I think the pedestal will either, it will definitely get a lot closer, or the FARA will just surpass it. But we're going to have to wait and see. I'm very curious to see what changes are coming in Season 4. I think Raven's been doing an amazing job. Like, they fixed the FARA, but they didn't make it to the point where it's, like, broken or it's just this untouchable AR, which is great. Like, I've been liking the changes because they've been buffing weapons accordingly. They've been nerfing weapons accordingly. They've been adjusting weapons accordingly. And, look at our meta right now. There's no pure dominant gun on either side of the secondary or, secondary and primary. Although some might make the case that the Amax is like this, #1 untouchable gun, but in reality, like there's a lot of guns out there that can compete with it very heavily, not like just be completely torched by the Amax. This isn't the DMRs and the AUG. It's Amax, which is again getting nerfed pretty much every other week at this point. And again, if it does receive another nerf, this FARA is gonna be something to be reckoned with, bro. Because, And I think especially the people that will benefit the most is those who can really control the recoil, can 100% be one with this gun. And I know there might be some people out there that already can do it. And you know what I'm saying? I'm guaranteed your experience is just amazing with it because it's a beamer. It's a straight monster. But, you know, again, I think it requires a little bit of time, a little bit more skill to master. And it could steer people away from using this over like an Amax or Craig, which is, you know, completely understandable. Some people just don't have it, some people do have it. But I don't know, man. With that being said, though, let me know what you guys think about the FARA. Where do you guys personally rank it? And do you consider it to be better than the Amax? And yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Peace.